Imagine this gripping scene. It's December 1944, and the air is thick with tension at General Dwight D. Eisenhower's headquarters in Verdun, France. An emergency conference has been called because the unthinkable has happened. The Germans have launched a massive, surprise offensive through the dense, foggy forests of the Ardennes. This attack caught every Allied commander off guard. Reports are pouring in from the front lines. American units are being overrun one after another. Soldiers are falling back in disarray. The elite 101st Airborne Division is completely surrounded in the key town of Bastogne, and German spearheads, led by powerful panzer tanks, are driving deep into Allied territory, threatening to split the entire Western Front. Eisenhower, the supreme commander, scans the room filled with his top generals, men like Omar Bradley and Bernard Montgomery. Their faces reflect the gravity of the crisis. He poses a critical question. How soon can any of you launch a counterattack to stop this? Most generals hesitate, crunching numbers in their heads about logistics, supply lines, troop movements, and weather conditions. Field Marshal Montgomery, ever cautious, estimates it would take weeks to organize a proper response. The room buzzes with doubt and calculation. Then, one man rises confidently and declares, "I can attack with 3 divisions in just 48 hours. A stunned silence falls over the room. No one can believe it. That man was General George S. Patton, the bold and controversial commander of the U.S. Third Army. But here's the question that changes everything. How is this even possible? Why could Patton make such an audacious promise when everyone else saw only chaos and delay? The answer lies in something no one in that room fully understood at the time. Patton hadn't just improvised this on the spot. He had been meticulously preparing for exactly this moment for the past 11 days. Long before the first German artillery shell screamed across the Ardennes, before any higher command believed a major offensive was brewing, one single man had foreseen it all. His name was Oscar Koch. Oscar Koch wasn't a household name like Patton or Eisenhower. He never led daring charges across battlefields, never commanded troops in the heat of combat, and his story is rarely highlighted in popular histories of World War II. Yet, without Koch's insight, the German offensive, known today as the Battle of the Bulge, might have succeeded in its goal of reaching Antwerp and forcing a negotiated peace. Without him, the outcome could have been catastrophic for the Allies, prolonging the war or even altering its end. And crucially, without Koch, George Patton wouldn't have been ready to deliver that stunning 48-hour counterattack. Who exactly was Oscar Koch? He served as Patton's G2, the chief intelligence officer for the Third Army. His job was to analyze enemy capabilities, intentions, and movements based on raw data. Koch was the epitome of meticulous and analytical thinking, almost obsessively precise. He didn't rely on gut feelings, hunches, or optimistic assumptions. Everything he concluded was grounded in verifiable facts, patterns, and cross-checked evidence. In a war where intelligence could mean the difference between victory and defeat, Koch excelled at seeing what others missed. Let's go back to early December 1944. While most intelligence officers at Supreme Headquarters Allied Expeditionary Force, SHAEF, reviewed the same reports and saw no cause for alarm, believing the Germans were exhausted and on the defensive, Koch started noticing disturbing anomalies. German radio traffic was suddenly increasing in volume and intensity. Prisoners of war, captured along quiet sectors of front, began mentioning fresh divisions arriving from the Eastern Front or reserves in Germany. Civilian informants in occupied areas reported unusual activity. Convoys of tanks and trucks moving under the cover of night, armor concentrating in sectors that had been relatively calm for months. But the most alarming clue was this. One by one, entire divisions that had been tracked on the Allied order of battle simply vanished from the front lines. Koch methodically documented it. 15 full-strength German Panzer and Volksgrenadier divisions disappeared. These weren't weakened, battered units or mere skeleton crews. They were complete, battle-ready formations equipped with hundreds of tanks, artillery, and seasoned troops. The official line from SHAEF was dismissive and reassuring. Those divisions were likely pulled back into strategic reserve for rest and refit. Nothing to worry about. The Wehrmacht was depleted after months of retreats, short on fuel and manpower. A major offensive was deemed impossible. Many even predicted the war would wrap up by Christmas. But Koch, Having spent months studying German operational doctrines, how the Wehrmacht concentrated forces secretly, how they massed preparations for big pushes, saw a different picture. The patterns emerging didn't match a defensive posture at all. This looked exactly like the buildup for a large-scale offensive. On December 9, 1944, Koch marched into Patton's office armed with detailed maps, decoded radio intercepts, prisoner interrogation summaries, and civilian reconnaissance reports. His presentation was thorough and overwhelming, pointing to the Ardennes sector on the map, a region of thick forests, narrow winding roads, and rugged terrain notoriously difficult to defend. Koch explained, "This is where the missing divisions are massing. Look at our defenses here. Only 4 American divisions stretched thin across a front that ideally needs at least 12 to hold securely. The Germans are going to attack through here, and it will happen soon, within 2 weeks at the most." Patton listened intently. Over their months working together in the Third Army's campaigns across France, Patton had come to deeply trust Koch's judgments. Koch had proven reliable time and again, never leading him astray with flawed analysis. When Koch presented evidence pointing to a clear threat, Patton believed him without hesitation. What Koch was describing was a bold German gamble through terrain that most Allied intelligence considered safe and unlikely for major operations, an assessment shared widely at higher headquarters. This is where Patton stood out from every other commander in the European theater. He didn't second-guess or debate Koch's findings with superiors like Bradley. He didn't wait for SHAEF to revise their optimistic outlook. Instead, he made a decisive call. He fully believed his own intelligence officer. Patton's simple instruction to Koch was, prepare contingency plans. If you're right about this impending attack, we need to be positioned to respond immediately and decisively. What unfolded over the next 11 days was a masterpiece of quiet, behind-the-scenes preparation, completely invisible to anyone outside Patton's inner circle at 3rd Army headquarters. Koch and Patton's planning staff dove into creating not one, but 3 comprehensive contingency plans. Each plan detailed precisely how the 3rd Army could rapidly disengage from its ongoing operations in the Saar region, execute a sharp pivot to a new axis of advance, and launch a powerful counterattack northward to relieve any surrounded Allied units. The level of detail was extraordinary. Truck routes were mapped out intersection by intersection, accounting for potential bottlenecks and alternative paths. Fuel supply depots were pre-identified, stockpiled, and positioned for quick access. Artillery batteries were assigned pre-designated firing positions for rapid redeployment. Infantry regiments received specific assembly areas for swift concentration. Supply chains, communication protocols, and even weather contingencies were factored in. This exhaustive work demanded long hours and immense coordination, but remained top secret to other Allied commanders and even some within the 3rd Army. Patton's focus on these what-if scenarios seemed like a waste of valuable time and resources. Why divert effort to hypothetical planning when the Army was already engaged in active offensives elsewhere? Why prepare for an event that SHAEF repeatedly assured was impossible? Patton offered no explanations or defenses of his actions. He simply ensured his forces would be ready if the worst happened. Then, on the morning of December 16, 1944, at exactly 5:30 a.m., the prediction became reality. German artillery unleashed a thunderous barrage along an 80-mile front. Out of the winter fog emerged over 200,000 German soldiers, supported by thousands of tanks and assault guns. The offensive, codenamed Walk dem Rhein by the Germans, was underway, exactly as Koch had forecasted in location, timing, and scale. At SHAEF and other headquarters, pandemonium broke loose. Conflicting reports flooded in. Commands were delayed or contradictory, and leaders scrambled to grasp the scope of surprise attack. But at 3rd Army HQ, the atmosphere was remarkably composed. Koch had called it perfectly, and Patton had prepared accordingly. Upon receiving the first confirmations, Patton didn't panic or deliberate. He turned to Koch and said calmly, "You were right. Bring me the contingency plans." While other American generals across the theater rushed to react and reorganize, the 3rd Army was already in motion, executing strategies refined 11 days prior. Within hours, massive movements began. Units that had been pushing east suddenly halted, turned 90 degrees, and surged north, Over 130,000 men, tens of thousands of vehicles, tanks, and supplies navigated icy, snow-covered roads in brutal winter conditions, all without the advanced communication systems we take for granted today. This complex maneuver, involving precise timing and logistics, should have taken weeks for any other force. Yet Patton's prior planning made it feasible in days. Skeptical generals back at the Verdun meeting had thought Patton was exaggerating or bluffing with his 48-hour promise. They had no idea every element of the counterattack, from routes to refueling stops, had been pre-planned down to the finest details, thanks to Koch's accurate foresight. The payoff came swiftly and dramatically. By December 26, 1944, exactly 10 days after the German offensive began, Patton's Third Army forces smashed through to Bastogne, relieving the besieged 101st Airborne. The siege was broken, vital roads reopened, and the momentum shifted decisively. The German gamble, intended to capture Antwerp, split the Allied armies and force negotiations, was blunted and ultimately halted. What could have been a devastating reversal became one of the Allies' most celebrated turning points in the European theater. In post-war interrogations, captured German commanders reflected on their failure during the Battle of the Bulge. When asked what went wrong with their carefully planned operation, many pointed to the same unexpected factor. They never anticipated Patton's lightning-fast response. They assumed they had weeks to consolidate gains before a major counterattack could materialize. None realized Patton had initiated preparations a full 11 days before their own attack even launched. So, what set Oscar Koch apart from countless other intelligence officers? It wasn't just collecting raw data. Many did that. Koch excelled at deep analysis, spotting subtle patterns, connecting disparate pieces of information, and drawing conclusions based strictly on evidence, not wishful thinking or group consensus. When SHAEF downplayed risks, insisting the Germans were too weak for offense, Koch rigorously examined the facts and arrived at the opposite view. He traced increased radio signals, cross-referenced prisoner testimonies with civilian sightings, and recognized the classic signatures of German offensive preparation. Even rarer was Patton's response. In an era where subordinates' warnings were often ignored in favor of higher headquarters' rosy assessments, Patton listened. He didn't dismiss Koch's report as overly pessimistic or alarmist. He didn't defer blindly to superiors. Instead, he empowered one officer's informed judgment and staked his entire army's readiness on it. This synergy, sharp intelligence plus bold leadership willing to act, transformed a potentially disastrous crisis into a resounding victory. It saved thousands of American lives, shortened the war in Europe, and underscored why the Battle of the Bulge remains a pivotal moment. The powerful lesson from this story resonates far beyond World War II. True success rarely comes from overwhelming force alone or blind optimism. It emerges when individuals diligently observe evidence, even when it contradicts popular opinion, and when leaders have the courage to prepare and act decisively on that insight. Oscar Koch did his job with exceptional diligence and integrity. Patton trusted him enough to bet everything on that analysis. Together, they turned one of the war's most perilous moments into a decisive triumph. In our own lives, whether in business, personal challenges, or any high-stakes situation, this principle holds. Pay attention to the warning signs others ignore. Prepare thoroughly when others procrastinate. Trust reliable insights and act boldly. That's how underdogs win, and crises become opportunities. If you enjoyed this in-depth exploration of this incredible true story, please give the video a like. Subscribe to the channel for more fascinating historical deep dives, and hit the bell icon so you never miss an update. Your support means the world. Thank you for watching.